Hi everybody, forecast for today, sunny with a chance of cloud eggs. So this is one of my favorite ways to prepare eggs because really you only need one ingredient, eggs. If you have cheese on hand, you can use that. It's an optional ingredient, as well as salt to kind of enhance the flavor of our cheese and our eggs in this dish. So the first thing you're going to have to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Next, you're going to carefully separate the eggs from egg whites from the yolks. So something that I like to do is use a slotted spoon, and this is really easy. The yolk will sit right on top of this spoon as the whites hopefully seep through. So give it a nice light crack. We'll see how this works. You have to help it out a little bit. Shake it if it's not coming through the slot. And ideally you want a yolk intact because it's gonna lay nice and neat in our cloud eggs. Alright, and this is going in the bowl. So as I'm cracking each egg, I'd recommend that you crack them in a Pyrex or another bowl before you put them in your large bowl. The next step is to whip these up into almost like a meringue. And if you have any yolks in your whites, it's not going to whip up like it should. And I think I got a little bit of shell in there. The best way to remove the shell is by using the actual eggshell itself. So I'm gonna this is our second egg, and depending on how many people you are making your cloud eggs for, that'll dictate how many eggs you want to use. Today, I'm going to be making 4 cloud eggs, so I am using 4 eggs. Alright, and the last egg I'm going to crack, I'm going to see if I can separate it using the shell. So you need a nice clean crack. Take the shell itself and just move the yolk back and forth. That was pretty good. All right, we're ready to make. All right, so I have 4 egg whites in this bowl. I'm going to season with just a little bit of salt. I'm going to measure this with the palm of my hand, about just a 1/4 teaspoon. If you're adding cheese, cheese will be a little salty as well, so you don't want to over salt your eggs. You can always add salt at the end. Next, I'm going to start the electric beater on low speed, speed 1, and I'm going to gradually increase it as our eggs warm up. So there is no specific time for how long you're going to whip your egg whites for, but you're going to be able to see with your eyes when they start to form stiff peaks, you know you are done whipping. So as you can see, as I take our beaters out, these aren't quite stiff peaks, so I'm going to continue whipping. All right, and there we have it. We got our stiff peaks and we are done whipping. Next, you're going to add in your cheese if you would like. You have to do this. Trying to get it all out. But it definitely adds to your cloud eggs. I like to use a white cheese. This is mozzarella, but you can use Parmesan, Swiss, Munster, cheddar cheese. We have a cheese drawer at my house, so we just like to kind of raid that drawer and see whatever we've got. I like to use a white cheese because then it continues egg whites, white cloud color. And you just want to lightly fold this in. Next, we break break out our nonstick cooking spray, our egg proteins will stick to our cookie sheet if we do not spray it. So you want to generously spray it with a good amount of nonstick. You can also use butter, a butter wrapper, or oil if you don't have a spray container. Okay, next we are ready to portion these out. Depending on how many eggs you cracked, that's how many clouds you're going to form. So as I was whipping up our egg whites, science was happening right in front of our eyes. Our tightly coiled proteins in our egg white started to denature. They started to unravel and realign to form a more solid or semi-solid structure. Whipping egg whites is something that you would do if you were making a macaroon or meringue, coconut cream pie. You also need to whip your egg whites when you are trying to increase the leavening in your cakes and pancakes. Sometimes they'll have you whip the egg whites. If you are doing this for breakfast, I would just recommend that you make sure everyone in your house is awake before you break out your electric mixer. If not, when you are done, for sure everyone will be awake. Alright, so I have my 4 clouds, generally the same size. Before I put them in the oven, I'm going to do just a slight indent, kind of like you would with mashed potatoes. And this is where our yolks are going to go. However, before we put our yolks in, we do have to let these set a bit. So we'll pop them in our oven for about 4 minutes, and then we'll add our yolks. So these just finished baking just for 4 minutes. Next we're going to add our yolk. So I'm going to make that indent a little better on some of them before I go to my yolks. If your yolk ended up cracking during your egg separation, that is okay. Just make sure that as you put it in the indent, kind of like this, it's deep enough that it's not going to spill out. Right? And our final yolk. I like to add a little bit more cheese on top. This kind of gives it a nice finish. I'm choosing Parmesan. It's a little finer than our mozzarella, depending on how you like your yolks. If you would like a yolk that's a little more runny, you're going to want to put these back in the oven for about 10 minutes. All right, so these are actually in the oven just for 9 minutes. You always want to keep an eye on your cooking, especially when making something specifically like cloud eggs. It really depends on how you want your yolks. So I saw that these yolks were semi-solid. They kind of have a gloss on the top. So for me, that's what I like, and that's why I took them out after 9 minutes. I was toasting up some toast in the meantime. We got some butter on there, which is going to be the perfect breakfast to go along with our cloud eggs. And there you have it, folks.